Joining me now, the man President Trump called out at a private dinner this week for holding up a health care vote, Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. Senator, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So you played a key role in the collapse of the Senate Republican health care bill. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is trying to revive it. He's looking to hold a critical vote as early as Tuesday to begin debate over that health care bill. Will you vote yes to begin debate on the bill?
Well, the real question is, what are we moving to? What are we opening debate to? Last week, Senate leadership said it would be a clean repeal, like the 2015 bill. In fact, the 2015 bill that we all voted for. And I think that's a good idea. The other alternative is the Senate leadership bill that doesn't repeal Obamacare, is Obamacare light, and is loaded with pork. It's become a pork fest where they're dumping billions of dollars into pet projects for individual senators. I'm not for that because I'm just not for taxpayer money going to rich insurance executives and uber wealthy insurance industry. I just don't think the taxpayers should be funding that. So it depends on what we go to. I've told them I will vote for a motion to proceed if we're proceeding to the clean repeal vote. If it fails, they can put up their monstrosity that they want to put forward. But I'm not for that because I'm just not for the taxpayer subsidizing private industry.
So you've talked up the idea of repealing Obamacare first and then worrying about a replacement down the road. But back in January, you said something different. Take a listen.
We need to think through how we do this, and it's a huge mistake for Republicans if they do not vote for replacement on the same day as we vote for repeal.
So that was your take in January, a huge mistake then. Why do you have a different opinion today?
Actually, I still like that guy from January, and I still agree with him because really I've always been talking about replace at the same time. The problem is Republicans can't seem to agree on what replacement means. To me, replacement is legalizing inexpensive insurance, which means the federal government doesn't regulate it, and we will allow the sale of inexpensive insurance again, legalizing the ability to join an association across state lines. I thought that's what we as Republicans believed in, but it turns out many Republicans actually believe in this giant insurance bailout super fund, nearly $200 billion that they're going to give to the rich insurance executives and rich insurance companies. So I'm not for that. And so if we can do both at the same time, absolutely, I'm still for that. I could even say you could do it in separate bills. And that's the other thing I've been saying. I'm looking for a way to get this done. If you divide it into a cleaner repeal, and then you take the pork fest, the big government spending, and put that into another bill, I think they could probably get Democrats, because I don't know a Democrat that won't vote for a big spending bill. They could work with Democrats if they want bigger government, but let conservatives vote for an actual repeal of Obamacare.
You're clearly disappointed in your fellow Senate Republicans who voted for just a clean repeal in the past, but have said that they are not willing to do so now. I guess the question is, how disappointed are you? Would you be comfortable with conservative groups targeting those senators should they face primary challenges?
I think disappointed is the right way to put it. You know, I think what's really occurred to me is so many of these Republicans in Washington, not out in the hinterland. When you go home, you'll find that most Republicans still want full repeal. But what disappoints me about Senate Republicans, they seem to have insufficient confidence in what made America great. What made America great were not insurance regulations, insurance stabilization funds. What made us great was leaving people free to trade with each other, not regulating trade, getting the government out of it. If there has to be regulations, have them done at the state level. But having this, they're going to keep in place the Obamacare regulatory structure that causes the death spiral. The death spiral will continue under the Republican plan. They're just going to subsidize it by giving billions and billions of dollars to insurance companies, and it's just really not what we're for. It isn't what we ever were for.
Should they be
I don't know how we got there.
Should they be primary?
That's for somebody. That's for somebody else to decide. But the thing is that I am disappointed. We'll continue to express disappointment and wish we could be what we said we were. We won 4 elections. We owe it to the voters to do what we said, and then we should have confidence that we can present market alternatives. 27 million people don't have insurance under Obamacare. Half of them can't get it because it's too expensive because of Obamacare regulations. We should be for repealing all of the regulations and saying we're going to get those people insurance. We're not going to have people losing insurance like CBO says. We're going to actually have people insured that never could get insurance under Obamacare. But we can't make the argument because these people don't believe in the marketplace like they ought to.
I want to ask you about Made in America Week. President Trump, of course, when he took the oath of office, he made a very clear promise. Take a listen.
We will follow two simple rules: buy American and hire American.
I'm not going to go through the litany of Trump clothing products that are made in China and other parts of the world that are not America, but we learned this week, in addition, that Trump's businesses have once again taken steps to hire foreign workers. Trump's Mar-a-Lago club and his golf course in Jupiter, Florida, have filed documents to bring in additional foreign workers under the H-2B visa program. Is this a problem for the president, saying one strong thing about buying and hiring American while his businesses do the complete opposite?
You know, I think all of us have this goal to buy American, but we have to think this thing through. Trade is a little bit, you got to go beneath the surface to get scratch beneath the surface. For example, I get shirts at Walmart. I get them for $7 sometime. Amazing deal. Target the same way. And the thing is that money that you save for ordinary working people is an enormous amount. It's somewhere between $800 to $1,000 a year the ordinary person saves. And a lot of that stuff, unfortunately, isn't made here, but those people are richer because they got their shirts a lot cheaper. It used to be a shirt, just a regular button-up shirt, might be $20, $25, and still might be in places, and at Walmart it's $7. And so that savings, though, allows working-class people to have savings to get a television set, to go on vacation, to buy gas for their truck. So trade is really a good thing, and we can't get too caught up in exactly where it's made, but we want our country to be strong by lowering regulations and taxes so we can compete.
It's an interesting point about helping low-income individuals who shop at Target and Walmart, but of course, Mar-a-Lago, the membership fee is $200,000 a year, so it's not really relevant when it comes to those foreign workers that they're trying to hire.
Yeah, it's a different situation, but I think it's if we're arguing whether trade is good or bad and trying to figure it out. And I think we all, though, want American jobs. And I think it's important to know that, like, we have a corporate income tax of 35%. I talk to a lot of businesses in Kentucky, and I try to make sure that the workers know that if we think, oh, we're going to tax those evil corporations, there'll be less American jobs and less profit to be spread around the American economy. You got to lower the corporate income tax. You've also got to lower the regulatory burden. And this is what the previous administration was killing America with. So there's a way to get towards the Buy America philosophy if we will try to get rid of the regulations, the excessive regulations and taxes that make us less competitive with the world.
As somebody who cites the Constitution all the time, holds it up as an important document, I'm wondering about your view. The Washington Post reported this week President Trump has asked his advisors about his power to pardon aides, family members, and even himself. As an amateur constitutional scholar, if I can call you that, in your opinion, does the president have the authority to pardon himself?
I think in all likelihood he does. I think that some of this hasn't been adjudicated. I think what the courts typically find is when something happens politically between separation of powers or between a power of one particular body, a lot of times they kind of say it's up to the electors to decide this. And so a lot of things get kicked back into a political sphere. I think in a political sphere, I would caution someone to think about pardoning themselves or family members or et cetera. But I also understand his frustration because, what's going on here, and I think the person who put it best is a guy named Herbert Butterfield, who wrote The Whig Interpretation of History. And he said if you look back at something, history, even recent history, and you say, well, there must be collusion, you find it everywhere you look, because every time someone met with a Russian, you think, oh, it's part of the master conspiracy plan, when in reality it's your mind creating some sort of linearity to history or meaning to history that is actually much more random.
The dulcet tones of Herbert Butterfield. Thank you so much, Senator Rand Paul. It's always good to have you on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.